my back, paint on money black, spend it on the enemy. Sleeping in the church, riding in the dirt, put a banner over my grave. Make a body work, make a beggar hurt, sell me something big and untamed. Now I die, real good time. Now I die, real good time. Now I die, real good time. Baby, you're mine. We know how to pray, party every day, make our desolation look plain. Riding in a rut till the power's cut, we don't even have a good name. Sleeping in the church, riding in the dirt, put a banner over my grave. Make a body work, make a beggar hurt, sell me something big and untamed. Now I'm tired, real good time. Now I'm tired, real good time. Now I'm tired, real good time. Baby, you're mine. Feel good, real good, it's the same old same. Real good, don't got no more brains. Feel good, real good, it's the same old same. Real good, don't got no Here I go again, I'm imagining a world outside. I'm like the one I'm in, daydreaming again of when I'll get a chance. There's a world that understands, where you don't hear the whispers in the room you're walking in, daydreaming again. All I need is a chance. When I feel my fear staring at me, I tell it just wait and see. I know who I'm gonna be, I know who I'm gonna be. The world's half asleep, it's gonna wake up and say, if it's a million to one, I'm gonna be that one. And if it's a shot in the dark, I'm gonna be the sun. And I just can't afford to be wrong, even when I'm afraid. You're gonna know my name. Yeah, you're gonna know my name. I can barely sleep, cause my heart is always racing, chasing, pacing round the room, living carefully. There's something I don't wanna do. When I feel my fear staring at me, I tell it just wait and see. I know who I'm gonna be, I know who I'm gonna be. The world's half asleep, it's gonna wake up and see. If it's a million to one, I'm gonna be that one. And if it's a shot in the dark, I'm gonna be the sun. And I can't afford want it. If it's a shot in the dark, I'm gonna be the sun. I just can't afford to be wrong, even when I'm afraid. You're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my name, yeah. You're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my
I'll be the last one standing, 2 hands in the air, I'm a champion. You'll be looking up at me when it's over. I live for the battle, I'm a soldier. Yeah, I'm a fighter like Rocky. Put your flag on your back like Ali. Yeah, I'm the greatest, I'm stronger. Bet my dues, can't lose, I'm my own, yeah. Hey, I've been working my whole life, and now it's do or die. I am invincible, unbreakable, unstoppable, unshakable. They knock me down, I get up again. I am the champion. You don't know my name, you can't hurt me now. I can't feel the pain. I was made for this, yeah, I was born to win. I am the champion. When they write my story, they're gonna say that I did it for the glory. But don't think that I did it for the fame, yeah. I did it for the love of the game, yeah. And this is my chance I'm taking. All them old records I'm breaking. All you people watching on the TV, you go ahead and put your bets on me. Yeah, I've been waiting my whole life to see my name in lights. I am invincible, unbreakable, unstoppable, unshakable. They knock me down, I get up again. I am the champion. You don't know my name, you can't hurt me now. I can't feel the pain. I was made for this, yeah, I was born to win. I am the champion.
Born champion. The C is for the courage I possess through the trauma. H is for the hurt, but it's all for the honor. A is for my attitude, working through the patience. Money comes and goes, so the M is for motivation. Gotta stay consistent, the P is to persevere. The I is for integrity, innovative career. The O is optimistic, open and never shut. And the N is necessary, cause I'm never giving up. See, they ask me how I did it, I just did it from the heart. Crushing the competition, been doing it from the start. They say that every champion is all about his principles. Carry it.
I am invincible, unbreakable, unstoppable, unshakable. They knock me down, I get up again. I am the champion. You don't know my name, you can't hurt me now. I can't feel the pain. I was made for this, yeah, I was born to win.
Good evening, everyone, or it's at least evening where I am. So let's get out of the way. I can't get the. Hope everyone is doing really, really well today. So yeah, welcome. I am super glad and grateful to have you here with us this evening for our Gain Control Over Your Life by Finding Your Motivation workshop. So with my workshops and things, if you do have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to raise a hand or to put it in the chat. This is also going live on the Facebook group as well. And I am monitoring the comments and just checking the sound and everything is working. So I thought I'd start in a different way today. So please feel free to share back on the motivational video that I put at the beginning. 3 of my all-time favorite songs as well. So sorry if they're not quite to your taste, but it puts us in a good mood. Okay, so let's get started. if it works. There we go. So our agenda today, we are going to have a quick introduction. Why are we here? A little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. We're then going to look at what is motivation, how and where we find our motivation. Then we're going to breach the subject of a worthy ideal, and then getting started towards your worthy ideal. A little bit on decision, Q&A, and unfortunately, because at the moment we don't quite have 10 people on live, the prize draw may not be happening. But I still have a really, really cool thing to share with you at the very end. I know, but it's Saturday night, it's Easter weekend, and a lot more people watch on the replay than they do on the live, unfortunately, because I love the energy of having you guys here with me. But hey, life comes first, and that is absolutely okay. I'm not one of those people that you weren't on my thing, so I'm not sending you whatever. I don't do things. There are so many out there that just say, well, I'm not recording it. How dare you not be here live?
Oh no.
People have lives. Okay. So yeah. Introduction, welcome. Those of you who are on Facebook with me and also live on the Zoom call, thank you for being here live with me. If you are watching the replay, be it on YouTube, on any of my social medias, in the Facebook group, also welcome. Thank you for your time, and I hope you get some goodness out of this. So, why are we here? With Rethink Your Perspective, which is my company, our 3 pillars are mindset, habits, and motivation, because those 3 things are key to living the life that you want to live. So this month we are doing motivation, and motivation is important because it's that thing that basically gets you to do anything. Yes, we can create all the habits in the world, we can have the most amazing mindset, everything like that, but if you don't have any motivation, you can't get started. Okay, so that is the topic of today, and as I put out in my little live that I did earlier on to invite you to tonight's session, there is one thing that will trump everything else for motivation, and that is the main thing that we are going to cover today. But first, a little bit about moi. This is me. I am Jay. I have done a little stint in the Army Reserve, so not full-time military, part-time, because I'm a little bit too outspoken to be full-time military. I get myself in trouble.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
I have 2 degrees. So I have a degree in Earth Sciences, which is basically physical geography and geology. So I love the planet. I did always want to be a vet. I passed my GCSEs, flying colours. Those of you in the UK will know what GCSEs are. And then my A-levels, 2 Ds and a U. Not quite sure what happened there, because I went from straight A's to D's and U's. I don't know. So I was like, what can I do instead? What do I enjoy? I'm going to go and do geography and geology because it's just a passion. I love the planet. I love nature. I love learning how it works, all the rest of it. So I did that. Then I went into environmental sciences. So I was a landfill environmental assistant for a few years. Had my little girl, who you'll see on the next slide. And then I decided to go into teaching. So this was me doing my 2nd degree, is a postgraduate certificate of education in primary schools. Decided after 2 weeks, teaching children isn't for me, not in a classroom. They are lovely, but it's just the systems around it. Love working with the kids, not so keen on all the paperwork and the planning and the admin and the meetings and then. So now I do the best of both worlds. I do a little bit of supply work. So I literally turn up when the kids turn up, leave when the kids leave, and do this. And the only reason I keep my supply stuff on is because I really enjoy it. I absolutely love working with the little ones and the big ones at the moment. So yeah, more about me. I am married. This is my husband. We have our beautiful little girl. I very rarely share her name on anything online because I believe that's up to her to make that decision when she's old enough. So this was us at the Christmas light switch on. And down here at the bottom, this is one of our joint hobbies. We love being on the water. I'm waiting until she's 8, which is this year, and I am going to introduce her to the world of scuba diving. Can't wait. Get back under the sea. And then when I'm not out and about in nature, you can usually find me on my sewing machine or doing this sort of thing. So that's a little bit about me, but enough about me. Let's get back into motivation. So I want you to use your imagination for a minute. Imagine that every single morning, you literally cannot wait to get out of bed. You're up before your alarm gets off, you're full of energy, you're just ready and raring to go every day of the week. At work or in your chosen thing that you do every single day, you are productive, effective, you are on it, you just, everything works. It's such a nice place to be all day. And you've got all the success and the dreams that you're going for. Nice images, and they can be yours. And there's only one thing that will get you all 3 of these, and that is motivation. Motivation is the key to unlocking absolutely everything that you want. So yes, we need the good habits, but we need to be motivated to make the good habits. Yes, we need the good mindset, but we need the motivation to get the mindset. And that is why motivation is one of the 3 key pillars of my company and what I want to share with you today. So what is motivation? I did a little bit of creative Googling and I came across 2 definitions that I want to share. So it's derived from the word motive, which denotes a person's needs, desires, wants, or urges. And then another one, a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way, which when you break it down, both of those basically means your why. Your motivation comes from your why. And your why is what I want to discuss this evening. Your why is the biggest thing that will ever motivate you, full stop. Your why is what it is that you are heading for. Why are you alive? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you going in that direction instead of that direction? Why are you getting up in the morning? Your why is your goal, or in this case, it is also a worthy ideal. But that is what we're going to go into as the main chunk of this workshop. But I just want to do a quick recap of how and where we find motivation when our why either isn't too big, so if we haven't got a big goal yet, or we've got to do something that isn't directly in alignment with our why, which it happens. It could be that your goal, your why is that you're setting up an online business, or you're wanting to set up your own business, go out on your own, change career, anything like that. But for the moment, you've still got to go and do that day job. You've still got to write that report that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that you or anyone else really wants to know about, but you've got to do it. So you've got to find the motivation to do it. Okay. And some places where you can get that, I will discuss now. The biggest thing when you're going for a goal, when you've set your goal, is to have a goal board or a why board or a dreams board. There's lots and lots of different names for it. This is just one I've got off the internet. But this one shows that they want to be a bit more spiritual. They want to do a bit more yoga. They want to go and visit things, have a party for their pet. It can be absolutely anything that goes on your goal board. But they are all things that you are going for. And you put them on the board or on the wall or in the backdrop of your computer or anything like that, so that you can see them regularly. And then every single time you see them, you're like, yeah, I want that. And you're motivated to go and do it. It's a great place to basically collate all of the things that you want. So on my goal board that is upstairs in our bedroom, excuse me, so it's the first thing that I see in the morning. I have a picture of the body shape that I want, that I am this close to getting to, but not quite. I have some pictures of places I want to travel to. I did have a picture of some new headphones that I wanted, but I got them earlier in the year. Yay! So they've got a big smiley face. There's also some motivational quotes on there, and do yoga 5 times a week. That one's ticked off as well now because I do it 7. So it's things that you really, really want that you put onto your goal board. And there are so many examples on the internet. But if you do want to see mine or how mine works, or how I've set mine up, just drop me a message either at the end of this chat or the end of this workshop, and I can always jump on a call and show you mine. Another thing that we can do, that we can look for how we find our motivation, is thinking about our why. Now, I've put money on here because most of us, not all, are motivated by money. We all want more money to do the things that we want to do. Okay, so you put all the things that you want to do on your goal board, but you're going to need the money to pay for them. So money is a massive motivator because it will pay for all the things that it is that you want. You've also got your dreams, your goals, where you want to go. So as a small child, you might have wanted to be an astronaut or a vet, and that was the thing that you wanted to do, and you role played all day long as an astronaut or as a vet or as a doctor. My little girl currently wants to be an artist, so she's forever drawing on things and writing stories and playing music and everything else. She's living the person that she wants to be. But as we get older, we get told that that's silly and we have to live in the real world. I think we should be able to role play at all times, at any age. Think of the person that you want to be and become them, even if it's only in your imagination. The more you do it, the more your imagination and your mind believes it, the more ideas it gives you to get there. Ta-da! Another motivation, another way to find motivation is to plan and to break things down into small steps. So if you've got a project that you need to do that you're just really not motivated to do, well, what have you got to do first? Okay, it could be that you need to write the headers. So when I was doing my dissertation at uni for the first time round, my dissertation was supposed to be on the faults that are on Mount Etna, because Mount Etna in Sicily, the volcano, is actually splitting in half and falling into the sea slowly. And you can measure the cracks in the roads that go up Etna. But when I got there, 2 weeks before, they'd re-tarmac the roads. So the cracks weren't there. And you couldn't get to the cracks in the actual hillside because it was overgrown. So I very quickly lost any motivation to be there. And it was really frustrating. But I was there for 3 weeks and I got in contact with my my uni mentor, and basically we switched and created a whole new dissertation that I planned out and mapped out, and it was actually mapping in the space of that evening, so I could get started the next day before I completely lost any interest in being there completely. And the new project was basically to map some old lava flows, like to show how they'd kind of interconnected and which ones were older based on where they were in the field. So I had to plan that out from scratch, even though I'd just spent the last 2 months planning the one on the faulting, which is really annoying. But hey, it worked and it got me a fairly good grade. So I'm happy with that. So planning something out, breaking it down, setting it step by step. So it could be, you need to do the introduction, then section 1, section 2. And between each thing that you tick off, give yourself a reward. So for me, when I was on Etna, I didn't know anything about like all these kind of techniques or anything, but when I look back, actually I was quite effective at this, and I think most of us are, we just don't realize it. But every single time I finished mapping out one area of the lava flows, I went and got a treat, or I said to the girls that I was there with, let's go and get ice cream tonight. She was never very interested in going to get ice cream because she was watching her figure. I was like, you're on a mountain all day long. You can eat what you like. Hey, but it was just a case of finding the motivation through reward. I'm very food driven. So if I'm trying to do a project, I will have usually lined up, and I've actually got it this evening. I've got my 3 bits of chocolate that will just keep me going. And I'm not using it for like a motivational reward this evening. It's more for a keep the energy high because I've been out in the sun all day and I got up early this morning kind of motivation. But what I do is when I'm writing something, so if I'm doing content or when I was writing my dissertation or any time at all, I would line up a row of edible treats. And every single time I reach a certain point, be it the end of a page on a Word document or the end of a section, I would have one of the treats. And I wasn't allowed to eat them unless I'd done that thing first. So it's a really good test of your willpower as well. Next thing, again, action plans. So action like planning. You can plan it all out, map it all out, and then tick it off one thing at a time. Ticking off lists is a great way to go. I do have a slightly different approach than a traditional to-do list. I have a get done list, which I won't go into today, but it was covered in my habits workshop, and it is also on my website under get done list or planituding, which again, I can send all of these links out at the end of this video. So that's a really good approach. Being motivated by success. Okay, so being surrounded by positive people who are giving you a pat on the back for every single tiny little success that you reach. Okay, so surround yourself with positivity. If you ever need to borrow any, I've got stacks. I don't know where from, but I'm just a very positive person. So if you need a positive spin on absolutely anything, just get in touch. I'm more than happy to share my positivity with you. Little wins as well. So surround yourself with positivity and celebrate your wins, even the diddy ones. So I finished a page of my report. Malteser, celebrate your win. Okay. And then also doing your visualizing. So always, 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 when you're trying to get through something that you don't really want to do, visualize in your mind it already being done. What is that going to feel like when it's done? What is it going to look like when it's done? Keep that image in mind. And before you know it, guess what? It's done. Okay. Other places that we can find motivation: internal, intrinsic. Okay. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay. I am very intrinsically motivated. I'm much more likely to go and do something that I want to do than what somebody else wants me to do. So if I've got to do something that somebody else wants me to do that I'm not really interested in, I will find a way to be interested in it so that I can motivate myself. It's a bit strange, but that's just me. You can also get motivation from other people. So this picture I like specifically because this woman is just going for it because he is cheering her on. Have your own little cheer squad. Again, if you ever need motivation and you need someone to tell you you're doing amazing, ask me. I'm more than happy, even if I know you're not, because you've told me you're not. I will still find a way to spin the positive and to keep you going, to keep you motivated. Especially when people are doing exercise, having that personal trainer makes all the difference in the training that they're doing. Because how often, if you're doing exercise or whatever, you're just like, well, I've done 10 push-ups, 10's enough. I'm starting to hurt. Yeah, I'll stop at 10. Whereas a personal trainer, you probably do 20 or 25. And you physically can do it, but you convince yourself that 10's enough. Yeah. Or if you go on a run or something like that, or a walk, you get to the 2 mile point, even though you were going to do 5 miles, and you go, well, I've done 2 miles. That's good enough. And I don't really want to aggravate my foot any further. And I don't and it's starting to rain. But just think, if you had a personal trainer with you, they'd be like, get on with it. Now run faster. And when you're trying to do work, especially if you are an entrepreneur or trying to start an online business or anything like that, having that accountability partner to give you that extra bit of motivation really, really helps. So having someone that you have to report to makes you actually want to do it. So I was doing e-commerce last year, and it happened quite a lot that we had a little group. There was a few of us that came onto a weekly call, and the amount of times we would turn around on that call is like, well, I wasn't actually going to meet my target this week. And then I remembered we've got this call tonight or tomorrow. So I actually did it because I didn't want to report that I hadn't done it. Whereas if you were just reporting to yourself, well, this got in the way and I'm going to make this excuse and, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. You give yourself a free ride. If you're accountable to someone else, guess what? You don't. You do it because you don't want to turn around to them and say you haven't done it. That's why we have managers in companies to hold people to account to do their jobs. Okay. Another place you can find motivation is in your past successes. So this picture is actually one of mine. It was taken from a very small school in Malawi in Africa from 2003, I think it was. I went on a World Challenge expedition. And it's a real success for me because we each had to raise £2,000 to go on the trip for 3 to 4 weeks. And when we got there, we were painting a school that had been painted 2 years previously. And then this little primary school was about 100 meters away, had 3 walls, and all of these walls were like black. They were just dirty brick and really like falling apart. So we decided, took it on ourselves and got ourselves in a bit of trouble to go and paint the primary school with the stuff that we'd been given to paint. And these 2 pieces of artwork, the lion we made up with our handprints, and the elephant my very good friend Leanna did. And then you can see our hands over here. So you can see Leanna's there. And I think mine are just off. But this was a real success for me because I raised the £2,000 for me to be able to go. I went away from home for 4 weeks and didn't really get homesick. I didn't die. Always a win-win. And we were able as a group to provide these kids with a place where they could learn because their teacher was gorgeous, such a great teacher, but the building was dark and dismal and everything else. And what you can't see off of shot, but to the left side of the elephant on this wall over here, we drew a big to scale map of Africa to show them like, the country that they live in, on the continent that they live in as well. So they loved it. It was great. So draw from your past success, because when you think about your past success, you get that feeling of pride. There's that feeling of pride that you use to go, well, I succeeded before. If I keep going now and succeed now, I can have that feeling again. And there's nothing better than feeling that success. It's one of those things. We just, as a species, we love the pat on the back, the success. It's just a great way of motivating ourselves. Another thing we can do is reading, learning, understanding, expanding our knowledge. Because most of the time we don't do something because we think we don't know how. We don't have enough information. We don't go and make that content and put it out there because we don't know exactly what time to post. We don't know exactly what's trending. But there's loads of places you can go and find the information. So do some more research, find out what it is that you don't know, and just keep testing and adjusting. But keep learning. Whenever we're learning, we're growing. If you're not learning, you're going backwards. Okay? Another thing, turn your challenges into chances. So look for the challenge. If you're hitting a bit of a roadblock, not quite sure how to take it, something's just like slamming doors in your face, find the challenge in that. Find what it is that's getting in your way and challenge yourself to turn it into an opportunity. Challenge yourself to turn it into a chance rather than just seeing the obstacle and backing away from it. And then the biggest motivator for me personally, this was taken last week, is getting out in nature, in trees. Today, obviously, if you saw my video, I was on the beach at Paynton. Being on the beach, being on the sand in bare feet is the best motivator for me. And I do have a lot of pictures that I will share across the next week and that I will use across all of my social media of my feet on the beach. Because I am an avid barefoot walker, because we have just as many sensory inputs in our feet as we do in our fingertips. So if you very lightly just brush your thumb across your fingertips, you can feel all of the ridges. Your feet are exactly the same. And if you can get your feet in nature, So on the beach, paddling in the sea, in a river, heck, even walking through the woods. Granted, you do have to keep your eyes on the floor for bumblebees, thorn bushes, dog poo, which is a bit annoying because you can't like just walk and look around you anymore, especially not where I live. You can't even walk down the street without having to look at the floor for fear of something you're going to step in, which is really frustrating. And I love dogs, but their owners need better training. So yeah, these are all ways of how and where you can find your motivation. But as I said, the biggest motivator is your worthy ideal, your goal. And what I want to do with this section of this workshop is to show you lesson 1 of my coaching program. So it was developed by the Proctor Gallagher Institute. I am a Proctor Gallagher consultant, but this lesson is one of 12. And I will go into what the other lessons are at the end of this workshop. But this one is lesson 1, and it's called A Worthy Ideal. And it's basically your goal. It's working out what is worthy of your life. Because if it's not worth giving up your life now for what you want, then is what you want worth it? Because you can't have that and have this at the same time. Okay, so all of our calls, as I have already mentioned, for interactions, please type questions in the chat box, either on Facebook if you're watching live on Facebook, or in the Zoom, or if you're in Zoom, raise your hand and I will get across to you. I'm not quite sure how to do that because I've closed the videos down, but I'll work that out. I need to get another screen at some point. So with my coaching program, I always start with wins for the week. So this is a little section that I absolutely love because it allows people to think about a win rather than focus on all the negative and go, well, this week hasn't really been that good. But actually, when you think about it, when you force yourself to think about it, it could have been an absolutely abysmal week. But when you think about where you won, something will come up. So my win for this week is, well, I've got several. I made that little 10-minute introductory thing, which was quite fun. And I've also managed to get all of my content scheduled for this week so that I could enjoy more time with my little girl because it's half term where we are. And she's off school. So rather than me having to spend 2 hours a day or whatever putting content here, there and everywhere, I did it all and scheduled it all and it was all done. That was my win. So does anybody watching with me live have a win that they would like to share? No pressure. You can write it in the chat and I'm happy to read it out anonymously. Or you can be brave and just speak. It's entirely up to you.
Well, I feel like I have a win because I am committed to somehow work with you because
That is definitely a win.
yes. And yeah. And
Yeah, no, that's good. And it can literally be a huge win or a teeny tiny win. So thank you so much for sharing.
of course.
Mine
Anything
is
else?
making it to all the challenges.
You did. You made it to every single one, which is a win because you held yourself to account and you did the thing that you said that you were going to do, that you wanted to do. So win-win, which is good. Great. And do you see how that little section, it just, even if it's somebody else's win, actually fills you up with a bit of, oh yeah, this week hasn't been that bad because I did that tiny little thing and that went really well. We love wins. Wins are great. So the lesson 1 agenda with thinking into results is to introduce the lesson. So it's called A Worthy Ideal. There is a video with each of the thinking into results lessons. They're between 12 and 24 minutes long. They were recorded by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. So I will play you the video today. It's 19 minutes long, I think. We then cover the key points that Bob covers in his lesson. And then there is also a workbook. So there are worksheets that come with Thinking into Results. So as part of the program, you get a digital copy of this, and there's a lot of it. It's over 200 pages long, I think. And the workbook is designed to get you thinking. So you can watch programs or videos or take part in challenges and things like that. And I know from experience, you can write all the notes, but 2 or 3 days later, you kind of move on from what you were doing. And everything that you learned in the workshop or on the video or in the program tends to fall a bit by the wayside, and you just tend to slip back to what you were doing. So this, as part of Thinking into Results, is absolutely full of questions and ways to get you thinking. And it's the thinking, hence the name Thinking into Results, it's the thinking that makes the changes. So I will go through the workshops as well, the worksheets, sorry, and I will also give you access to the worksheets. There is a downloadable on my website, which you can have. Obviously, this will be recorded, so you can go through lesson 1 as and when you choose. Okay, we then do a
Awesome.
wrap up of this section. Sorry, say again.
I said awesome.
Cool. Okay, so introduction. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So success, the word, means lots of different things to lots of different people. Some people judge their level of success on how much money's in the bank. Some people judge success on their job title. Some people judge their success on how happy they are in their life or in the things that they're doing. But Earl Nightingale, who was Bob Proctor's mentor, so a generation above Bob, his version of success was the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So the worthy ideal, achieving it, is a success in itself. But actually, in your journey, the worthy ideal and achieving it is this tiny little bit at the end. You've got all of this as well. And this little bit here is the progressive realization. So every single little step that you're taking towards achieving that goal, that worthy ideal, that is success, because you're making progress towards it. Bob always said, and Earl Nightingale was the same, because I've heard a few of his old recordings, achieving the goal sometimes is irrelevant. You might never achieve it, but because you're working towards it, you are a success. And I always liked that, and that's why I put that quote into this lesson, really. So what is your goal? Worthy ideal gets us to think about what is our goal? Where is it that we want to go? And it asks the questions such as, are my current goals making me excited and energized? If not, maybe they need rethinking. Do your goals belong to you, or do they belong to somebody else? This is quite key when you are still of school age, for example, when you're told by your parents that you should go and do this job or that job or whatever job. And you hear so many stories, especially of entrepreneurs like Anik Singhal or Elon Musk or anything like that, where they were pushed down a certain route. Well, you should be a doctor because your dad was a doctor, your grandfather was a doctor, your mother was a doctor. You should be a lawyer because it runs in the family. That's where Sandy Gallagher was pushed. So Sandy Gallagher is the second half of Proctor Gallagher Institute. Sandy's father was a lawyer, so she became a lawyer. But then she changed. And there are so many stories of people that were pushed down a certain funnel. Do this job. Okay, I'll do that job. They do as they're told, and they're just miserable because it's not what they want to be doing. So do your goals belong to you, or have you been given them by somebody else? Do your goals evolve around somebody else's ideas of what you should be doing with your life? Or are they yours alone? Mine always used to be, before I came across this information, mine always used to be evolving around what my family were doing, what my family thought I should be doing. Hence why I went down the teacher route, to be more child focused. I absolutely hated every second of it. It wasn't my goal, but I did it anyway, because once I start something, I finish it. But when you're thinking about your worthy ideal, have a real think about what it is that you really, really want. And I shared this, my doodles of my lake house during the week. I think it was day 2, the Tuesday. So what I really, really want, and this is what came out of my mind when I first did this lesson. So I went into thinking into results. I've been through the program. I'm going through it again shortly because I'm just doing a couple of other things in between. But what came out of my sessions in lesson 1 was this. It was really hard to see that I'm actually putting it in the middle. Hi. So this is my lake house. And this for me is the house that I want. It's on the side of a lake, hence water, and up here are mountains. And on the side is like a little wellness retreat. So people can come and share my space to rejuvenate. So we can do lessons on motivation and mindset and yoga on my top deck. And there's also an area where another person can run their own like spa, massage type business. So it's good for somebody else. There's also a fitness instructor who can use my gym space for his own personal or his or her own personal clients. But when I sat down and really thought about what is it that I really, really want, that's the image that came up. And that's what I then am working towards. So that is my end goal. And then I've got a couple of little milestone goals in between. But when you think about a worthy ideal, it has to be yours and yours alone. And that is what this covers. And it is a little bit selfish. But guess what? If you're not doing what you want to be doing, how can you give your best self to the people around you? So it's not selfish at all to put yourself first. And it will happen sometimes if you are in a relationship where your goal, it at least needs to sort of be in harmony with the other person that you live with. Otherwise, you'll be going in 2 different directions. But make sure any goal that you set, whether you set it individually or as a couple or as a family, so we have a family goal board as well as my own personal one, that you're all agreed. There's no point in saying our family goal is to move to Australia on the other side of the world if one member of your family is absolutely petrified of snakes and spiders. It's a bit of a stupid place to move to if you have a severe fear of snakes and spiders, because Australia is full of them. Okay, so it's got to be in harmony with everybody who's involved in that goal. And what thinking into results does, it also, rather than just focusing on the individual, it also works within a corporate role. So all of the exercises in the workbook, there is half of each lesson is for individuals, and then there is another half where you can do team goals. So thinking into results works within companies as well. Okay, so I do work with individuals and I do work with companies. They're very slightly different, but the actual behind the scenes information is all the same. Okay, so let's take a look at the lesson, if I can find it on my screen. Not that one over there, and that one over there. All right, just let me check that that is playing properly.
Hello there and welcome. I want to congratulate.
Okay, so I will pause that for a second while I get rid of the videos out of the way. Like I said, it is 19 minutes long. It gives you a brief introduction to thinking into results from Bob himself. And then, yeah, it just gets into it. So I hope you enjoy. I will see you on the other side. I will not interrupt it. If it does cut out sound-wise or anything like that, please just drop it in the chat. I will pause it. I can rewind it. Okay, so enjoy, and I will see you on the other side.
Congratulate you for taking part in this program, Thinking into Results. Do you know, you probably think this just has to do with your work, but it really doesn't. This has to do with your family. It has to do with your social life, your health. It has to do with your life. I began studying this material close to 50 years ago. My life has changed so dramatically. I live in a healthy body. I'm happy. I'm wealthy. I have friends all over the world. And I have business all over the world. And it's all because of this material. You have absolutely no idea where this is going to take you. And when we talk about results, let's understand this. It's what we think that ultimately manifests as results. Now that may seem like a bit of an exaggeration or maybe even a fairy tale to you at this point. But as you start to study it, you're going to realize it's not an exaggeration and it's not a fairy tale. It's real. So take this program seriously. Your leaders are going to give you something that you're going to be grateful for the rest of your life. I am forever grateful every day to have this information, because you see, I'm in charge of me, I'm in charge of my world, and you're going to take charge of your world. You'll no longer be a victim of circumstance or a victim of any kind, because you're going to take responsibility for your life and the results you get. We never have to blame, we never have to look at anybody else, and we are in control of how we think, how we feel, how we act, and therefore the results we get. You're going to start loving how you spend your days when you've got thinking into results in your pocket and in your mind. Enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Sandy Gallagher, your partner on this journey, thinking into results. When I first met Bob Proctor, I was already a successful business attorney, and I thought my life couldn't get much better, but it did. My life has expanded dramatically. I've learned a lot from Bob since we first met. He got me to shift my thinking and see the relationship of my mind to my behavior and my results. Bob Proctor is widely considered one of the greatest teachers in the world on the topic of human potential and growth. He's worked with many of the top companies around the world, from banks to airlines to insurance companies to computer giants like IBM. Working with Bob generates phenomenal results. One of the most valuable concepts that Bob taught me is the importance of setting goals. Not just any goal, not a goal you know how to achieve. I'm talking about a goal, a dream, a vision, something you think, something you know, in fact, is beyond your experience today. Because the true purpose of a goal is to help you grow in your awareness of yourself and of your team. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? Let's see how you can begin thinking in a new and powerful way and begin discovering your true purpose in life. Are you ready?
The lesson that we're going to do right now could have a greater impact on your life than anything else. It certainly did on mine. You receive a little goal card. This is where you sit down and write out what you want on a card. And then you carry it loose in your purse or your pocket. Now on one side we've got here, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice, and it is. Do you know that you could wander up and down the streets of any city, anywhere in the world, and ask one person after another, what is their goal? And they'll look at you, and odds are pretty good they'll say, what do you mean? Yet if by chance you find someone that has a clearly defined goal, ask if they've got it in writing. And again, odds are pretty good they won't. If you decide what you want, and you write it on the card and you carry it with you, I guarantee you it must happen. It absolutely must happen in your life. Now, why do we have goals? See, the average individual would say we have a goal to get more. You know, get a better house, get a bigger house, get a boat, get more money. Now, that may be a result of the goal. You may, accumulate more in your life and nicer and better things. But the real purpose of a goal is to grow. It causes you to draw something out of yourself that you didn't even know was there. Now, when we set a goal, we're going after something we want. And if you know how to reach it, it's the wrong goal. Now, that probably sounds pretty silly. When you set a goal, you're going after something you want. And if you know how to reach it, it's probably the wrong goal. You're going sideways. I always mention that goals fall into three categories. I refer to it as A, B, and C. A-type goals are doing something you already know how to do. And I use an example in a program that I wrote about a young man that came to me and he asked me if I'd talk to him about his goal. And I said, sure, what's your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, what kind of a car do you want? He said, a new Pontiac. I said, well, Pontiac's a nice car. I've had a Pontiac. And I said, what are you driving now? And he said, a Pontiac. Really? I said, how long have you had it? And he said, 4 years. I said, how old's the Pontiac? He said, 4 years old. And I said, then what you're telling me is that you have had a new Pontiac that you bought 4 years ago. You bought it new. He said, that's right. And I said, that's not a good goal, because you've known for 4 years how to do that. There's going to be no growth attached to it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a new Pontiac, but it would not constitute a goal. A goal is something that you're going to go after you've never done before. Now, when people move away from A-type goals, they generally go to B-type goals. And that's where they sit down and they gather all the information they've got, all the resources they've got, and they say, if all these things happen, then I could accomplish this. And they make a plan. They've got an absolutely beautiful plan. They've got the plan, and if all these things happen, then I can accomplish this. This is what they think they can do. You see, the A-type is what they know they can do. B is what they think they can do. Now, do you know that there's no inspiration in going after something like that? Absolutely none. And if you're going to really accomplish something, you're going to have to be inspired. You're going to have to pull on something that you haven't pulled on before. I mean, it's going to have to come from inside. See, people go after B-type goals, they get going, and they get bored, they're not inspired, and so they quit, they give up. Now, the C-type goal is wants. And what you want, I'm talking about what you really want. Most people say, I don't know what I want. I don't believe that. I think you do know what you want. I think you're rejecting it before you give it any serious thought. To decide what you want, you've got to sit down and totally relax. And then you have to let your imagination wander. When you're going after wants, you're dealing with fantasy. See, the one, you're going after what you know. The other one, you're going after what you think you can do. And the wants is fantasy. Now, we have been conditioned as kids that fantasy is just for little kids. You don't fantasize. You've got to know how things are going to happen. But you see, you and I are the only creature on the planet, so far as we know, that can fantasize. Ed Hillary fantasized that he would stand on top of the world and he climbed Mount Everest. The Wright brothers, a couple ordinary bicycle mechanics, they fantasized they'd introduce us to a new kingdom, and they did. Now think of this for a moment. What do you fantasize? See, as a little kid you could fantasize, and your mother and dad let you do that because it got you out from under their feet. You'd sit down in front of the kitchen cupboards with pots and pans, and God knows only what you did with it. But then you went to school. Bob, pay attention. You see, your mind's wandering. Will you quit looking out the window and listen to what I'm telling you? And you see, we'd get punished, and pretty soon we stopped fantasizing. We put our imagination away, and we stopped using it. Do you know, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Don't you find it strange that we have great, huge companies, big multinationals, with small creative departments? We have people wandering around and say, well, I'm not really creative. Writers are creative, musicians are, but I'm really not creative. Everyone is creative. Creativity comes from the root creator, which is within. Everybody's creative. It's a matter, are you expressing your creativity? Well, don't let people steal your dream. When you sit down and decide what you want, you won't know how you're going to get it. The fun is in finding out how you're going to do it. When I set a goal, if it doesn't sort of scare me, I know I'm on the wrong track. See, if you know how you do it, you're going to go sideways. You've got to build a fantasy. You take the fantasy and you move it from fantasy to a theory. You keep playing with it. And you go from fantasy to a theory, and you take and you build an image, and just follow the pyramid that we've got here for you, and you turn it into a theory. Now that is when we're giving our fantasy some serious consideration. We're starting to use our reasoning mind, and we're starting to give this some serious thought. Now, before we can turn the theory into a goal, we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. Am I able to do this?
Am I able? Well, if we believe everything we've been taught by both science and theology, the only two sources of reference we have to go to, we have deep reservoirs of talent. We have infinite potential. Absolutely, I'm able. I don't know how, but I'm able. The second question we have to ask, am I willing? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to do what I have to do to get to where I'm going? See, Ed Hillary had to go to Nepal in 1951, in 1952, and 1953. No one had ever been to the top of Mount Everest. Everyone in the world told him it couldn't be done. Anybody that tried died. But he kept going back. He was willing to do whatever was required, and he got to the top of that mountain. Have you any idea how those two young bicycle mechanics, the Wright brothers, were ridiculed? Told to quit wasting time? Have you any idea how many times people laughed at Edison when he said what he was going to do? He was going to make this incandescent light. Do you know he failed about 10,000 times? He was willing to do that. See, failing at something doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. You could ask, am I able to do this? Yeah, I'm able. Am I willing? Yeah, I'm willing. I am willing to pay the price. At that second, your theory turns into a goal. Now, as you get emotionally involved in the goal, you're going to find that your emotional involvement is going to change your behavior. Yet you're going to find as your behavior changes, the results start to change. And your theory turns into a fact. And once you reach the goal, it turned into a fact. That puts you in a position to build bigger and better fantasies. Now, let's back up a bit. How do you decide what you want? See, that's a pretty big idea. You've got to sit down as an individual and start writing all your wants down. Make it a shopping list. See, I think there's two goals people should have. They should have a personal goal, and then they should have a corporate goal. You might want to sit down with your peers in your department and say, what could we accomplish in this department? It could be the sales department. It might be, as a group, collectively, take the sales to a point that would shock the executives in the company. It could be in the machine shop. Let's make this place the most effective machine shop in the world. It could be in the accounting department. Let's make sure everything's right on tap. They're goals. And as we work towards them, we unify our energies. We work together, but we're working towards a point. See, when people are working towards something, they're alive. If they're just working, they don't have any fun. So we've got to sit down and we've got to decide, what do I really want? And start to make a list. You're capable of doing anything. And what we're really doing is raising our level of conscious awareness. And you're going to find when you decide on the thing on the list that you want more than anything, that becomes the star you're shooting at. That's what's written on the card. That becomes the goal. It might be an income, it might be a position, it might be a new home, it might be a trip. That becomes the goal. Yeah, that's what you work towards. And you're forever trying to become more effective so you can raise your consciousness and you become aware of how to do it. It's the same in a department. We have a masterminding session, a brainstorming session. How can we make this department more effective than it is? Now, you're going to find possibly someone say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then that's okay. They're not part of the group. Don't let another person dictate how you're going to live. Don't let conditions or circumstance dictate. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. It's what's going on inside. George Bernard Shaw said that people are always blaming circumstance for where they are. He said, I don't believe in circumstance. The people that get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So you absolutely refuse to let anything that's going on outside stop you. Do you know, there's a cute story about the Maharishi and yoga when he was taking his transcendental meditation to the world, or planning to. Someone asked him, "Well, where's all the money going to come from?" He said, "Wherever it is right now." See, nothing's created or destroyed. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything's already here, if not in one state or another. The way to fly airplanes has always been here. Internet, it's always been here. We just weren't aware of how to do it. And as we raise our conscious awareness, we've got it. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science and all theology have taught us that for years. Now, when we really start to understand that, we live in an ocean of motion. We're living in a constant evolution of change. But remember when I said personal growth is a choice. You've got to have a goal. You've got to wake up in the morning and get excited. I'm working towards my goal. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm creating this program with you. I'm working towards a goal. I have a business partner, Sandy Gallagher. She wants to build this worldwide, the corporate division. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards. That's why we're spending time here right now, building this program. So help you. See, the only way to reach the goal is to provide greater service. And as you provide greater service, you're going to grow. You're going to move ahead. Things inside of you are going to start to happen. An individual that doesn't have a goal is lost. They don't know where they're going. Can you imagine going on a trip and you don't know where you're going? Somebody say, well, where are you going to go? I don't know, west. Where? I mean, you could be going around the world and just going around the world and around the world. Well, where are you going? I'm going west. Well, when you get there, you still can go west. Imagine driving out of your driveway. You've got no destination. Which way would you turn? You see, we're goal-seeking organisms, every one of us. Have you ever watched a little baby? The baby's goal is to walk. It falls, it bangs its head, it cries, it bleeds, but it doesn't stay down. It gets up and it gets going. And pretty soon it's, look, Mom, I'm walking. Then they get on a bike. And the trick is to balance it, learn how to ride. Pretty soon it's, look, Mom, no hands. But you know what your goal is? Your goal, your real purpose in life is to grow. You want to sit down and ask yourself, what do you really love to do? That's what you're going to get good at. That's what your purpose is going to be all about. That's what your goal is all about. Move toward what you want. Have a personal goal, have a corporate goal. Now, your personal goal and your corporate goal in your department should be consistent with the corporate goal that the executive team set. So you want to make sure, as you go towards the big one, that all your little ones will fall into place. And I guarantee you, you'll set something on fire inside of you that there's nothing like it. Goal achievers are productive individuals. They're happy, they're productive, they're prosperous. They're the ones that make the world change. Don't listen to people that tell you why something can't be done. Don't listen to people that tell you the economy is controlling them. You control the economy. You're God's highest form of creation. Steve Bowe, who was a vice president with the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, said one time something that I have never forgot. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. I like that. You might want to take and memorize that. It's done me a lot of good. Now I've shared it with you. Set your goal, get it on your card, bury it in your mind. Tell yourself, I'm able and I'm willing, and then go and do it. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate you on taking this first step towards thinking into results. Now that you know a lot more about setting goals, the right kind of goals, what do you do next? You take action, because that's where the learning really begins. Without action, goals are just fantasies. So sit down with your coworkers, take some time and ask them, if we had all the resources we needed and there were no limitations or restrictions, what would we want to accomplish together as a department? It's really a great opportunity to collaborate and be creative, because everyone wins by coming together for a common goal, and everyone soars when those common goals are big, worthy goals. So good luck, and I'll see you at the next lesson.
Good, isn't it? Absolutely love lesson 1. It's not my favorite of the 12, but it is definitely up there with the top 3, possibly. Okay, right, just let me get this back on big screen. There we go. Move my head out of the way. Okay, so this was the quote that was given within the end of that lesson, and it's from Steve Bowe, and he was a management a manager within a big company, and he said God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. Now, those of you that know me will know that I am agnostic, which means I believe there is something there, but I don't subscribe to any religion. And if I'm being completely honest, religion and using the word God and being in a church actually make me feel really uncomfortable. So when I first went through thinking into results, I had quite a long chat with my mentor about this. And we came to the conclusion that I don't have an issue with God as a higher being, be it God, Allah, Krishna, the Buddha, the universe, spirit, Mother Nature, Gaia, whatever you want to call it. I don't have the issue with that. My issue is with religion. And thinking into results isn't religion based. It's not Christian teachings. There is a lot of mention across a lot of Bob's stuff and across pretty much all of the personal development world has a lot of its roots within the Bible, within the Torah, within the Quran. Because if you look at a lot of the religions, they are all very similar. They preach the same message. And that message is basically what personal development is still about today. So when I read God's gift, that is basically our Creator's gift. So the thing that's out there that created life, be it the Big Bang, be it a religious thing, deity. Okay, so you take God however you're going to take it. It's entirely up to you. But basically, the gift that we are given, we all have more talent and ability within us than we can ever use in our lifetime. We just have to unlock it. And it's our gift to our Creator and to our fellow people and our fellow everything, our fellow life on our planet. Our gift to that is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can to give back. Okay, and that's why this quote works so well. And it's really, really nice one. Okay, so the key points from lesson 1. A goal is something you're going after that you've never done before. So remember A, B, C type goals. You're going for a C type goal. You've never done it. You've got no idea how to do it. And you're probably feeling a bit sick when you think about it. Yeah. A goal is designed to help you grow. So progressive realization.
Hey, poser.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It causes you to draw something from yourself that you didn't even know was there. If you know how to reach your goal, it's not going to do for you what a goal is designed to do because you already know how to do it. Same as if you've already done it before, you've already done it, so you're not going to grow. If you're really going to accomplish something, you're going to need to be inspired by going after something you really want. And it's what you really want, not what you think someone else thinks you want, or not what you think somebody else wants for you, or not what you think should be for somebody else. Okay? Nothing of that. It's what you personally want. Okay? So my want is my lake house, my time freedom, my financial freedom, my ability to help and reach and help as many people as I can with this information. Because when I first learned this, it was a massive wake-up call. And I am so grateful that I found it because it filled that gap within me where something was missing, but I wasn't sure what. So that is my mission. That is my purpose. I want to share this with the world. So remember, goal types. You have our A-type goals, doing something you already know how to do. B-type, what you think you can do. If this happens, then that happens, and I get that, then I can do that. C-type is your wants, what you really want. Type C goals come from your fantasies, originated through the effective use of your imagination. You cannot imagine yourself doing something that is not physically possible for you. The world doesn't work like that. It's not cruel. Okay, if you can't see yourself doing something, it means you can't do it. So you can't see it, so you can't do it. But if you can see yourself in that place where you want to be, so whenever I'm doing my yoga and I close my eyes, I see myself on the deck. or in the lounge of the lake house. When I fall asleep at night, as soon as I close my eyes, the first thing I see is the room that I will be sleeping in the lake house. So I know I can do it. I've just got to get there to do it. Okay. So C-type goals. This is where we are going to get a little bit interactive, because as I said, we're thinking into results. It's all well and good sitting and listening to me talk, and I'm very grateful for you sitting and listening to me talk. But this is so much more powerful if you take part. Okay, so we are going to take 10 minutes now to have a real think about what it is that you want. And it's off the cuff. I'm not giving you any chance to think about it. There was no pre-warning for this, because I want you to do it raw. So it's literally the first things that come into your head. Okay, so I want you to sit with pen and paper. So preferably pen and paper if you have it, or on your phone or on your computer, wherever you are. And I want you to answer the following 3 questions. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? What do you want to have? Okay, I will load up a quick little music, which is, I knew I'd forgotten to preload something. Where's it gone? And it's gone walkabout. Bear with me 2 seconds, because I had it saved and now it's gone. So yeah, but you are literally going to sit and, well, there it is. Sit and answer those 3 questions while this lovely music plays for us. So, who do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? What do you want to have? 10 minutes, off you go. Okay, I have set it for 5 minutes. If you have come to a stop or you want to do the next little bit, then feel free to try and start your worthy goal with this statement. So, I am so happy and grateful now that I am a millionaire. I am living in my lake house. I am earning whatever it is I want to earn. Okay, so either stay on the 3 questions if you're still working on those, or set your worthy goal using this phrase. I am so happy and grateful now that. Write your goal in present tense. Okay, so I'll turn the music back on for the last 4.5 minutes. See you soon. Okay, so how was that? Now, as part of any of Bob's training or any of Bob's programs, he always recommends that you write out your goal. I am so happy and grateful now that. He says 50 times a day. Other people say 100. Other people say that you just say it aloud or you listen to it on a tape. For me, what works for me is that I write it out 3 times in the morning, twice with my right hand, my dominant hand, and once with my left to get it really thinking. And then what I do throughout the day is anytime that I hit a bit of a challenge or I'm in a situation I don't really want to be in, but I have no choice, classroom, I just think about my goal. So I have it on a goal card. It's always in my wallet. So I have my goal card. It's always there. I only have to put my hand in, feel my phone, and it pops onto the screen of my mind. And then the visioneering carries on. Okay. And that will be the same for you. It will come to you as well, the more that you do it. But you basically work from who you want to be, what you want to be doing, what do you want to have. So who do you want to be, do, have? 3 words, be, do, have. Okay, and then your worthy goal starts with, I am so happy and grateful now that. And that is really the biggest thing that you will draw motivation from. Your why. And this is your why. And you put it in the present tense because your subconscious mind, again, if you rewatch my mindset workshop or go onto my website and search for stick person, it'll explain it to you a little bit more. But your subconscious mind can only accept. It only accepts what you give it. So if you're saying, I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning £10,000 per month, or or my company is growing, helping people. Okay, whatever it is that your goal is, make it present tense. And then the more that you think about it, the more that you focus on it being already happened, the more your subconscious mind will make that so. Okay, because it believes that that is what's happening. If it's then seeing, well, that's not what's around us at the moment, it doesn't care that that's not around it, what's around it at the moment. It will do everything in its power to get you there. Okay. So, workshop introduction. You will find a downloadable copy on my website. Everyone who has registered for this and also in the Facebook replay on the group, I will put this link in, but it's basically rethinkyourperspective.com/lesson-1-preview. Okay, there's an option there that for you to download. It will ask for your email. But don't worry, I've already got your email and you already know that I don't spam or sell it or anything like that. Okay, if it is not working, please just drop me a message and I will get them sent over to you manually by email. The worksheets, as I said, are meant as an activity that challenge you to immediately apply the lesson being learned. Okay, they are an essential part of the Thinking into Results program. And each time that you complete the lesson, you should also complete the worksheets. Okay, so be sure that you're writing out your answers every single time, because it's the writing that encourages the thinking, which changes the doing. Okay, it's all in a sequence and it will come together the more often that you do it. Okay, so these are just a selection of the worksheets. Obviously, if you are watching on a phone, these are going to be teeny tiny, but you'll see there's a lot of space for you to write. There's a lot of space for ideas and thoughts and opinions and things like that. Anything that comes up, there is a lot of space for you to write them down. Okay, so as I said, you can download these direct from my website. They are my free gift to you because you are awesome and you have come on this workshop with me this evening. Okay, so how do you get started towards your worthy goal? There are 3 steps. Step 1, you need to visioneer. So you set your worthy goal. I am so happy and grateful now that. And then you spend as much time every single day thinking about it, imagining that you're already there, feeling the feelings that you will feel when you get there, and pretending that you're already there. Okay, so do the things now that your future self would do then. Okay, that might not mean spending X amount of hundreds of pounds or whatever it is that you have at that point, but feel that you've already got that. Dress in your nicer clothing, get a manicure, get a massage, do some of the things that you will be doing once you reach your goal. Do them now. Okay, so for me, I have Wednesdays where my little girl is in school for wraparound care. So she's in from 8 o'clock in the morning until around about 5. Wednesday is my visioneering day. So I literally spend every Wednesday doing the things that I would be doing once I am at my lake house. So I do an extended yoga outside if it's not freezing cold or raining. I go to the gym. I do some time on my business, and I do the things that I would be doing all the time, holding the image that I am that successful person. Okay, so spend as much time in your imagination as you possibly can, pretending that you are already there. Okay, step 2, make a plan. You need a roadmap. So you plan your goal into your mind, you writing it out every day. That is the goal that you have set into your internal sat nav. And yes, you don't need to know every single individual step on the journey, but you need to know roughly which direction you're going in. So if your goal is to be a millionaire and you're currently only earning 1,000 a month, then the next step is going to be that you earn 2,000 a month, then 4,000 a month, then 8,000 a month. Okay, break it up as incrementally as you want to. It's your choice, but make a rough plan, a route map, and get going. And step 3, just get started. Okay, so you've got your image of where you're going, you've got your destination, you've got a rough idea of where you need to go. Focus on that, and you'll suddenly start getting an awful lot of ideas of how to start hitting those milestones. So when you get an idea, go for it. Just try it. If you get the idea come up of, declutter the house. Maybe we've got some stuff lying around that we can get rid of. You've got to make space for the abundance that's coming in. If everything is already cluttered, how's it going to arrive? How can it be made space for? Okay, so visioneer, make a plan, get started, and don't hold back. Do never, ever, ever, don't just wait. I'll get started when. You'll never get started. I'll get started when I've got the money. I'll get started when I've got the time. You'll never start. Get started now. You will make the money. You will make the time. Even if it's only a little bit each day, get started. I was always given the example of starting a new exercise regime. The first couple of days are always okay. Then you start to flag. Okay. But visioneer, see yourself in the body that you want to be in, lifting the amount of weight that you want to lift, fitting into that, whatever size clothes it is that you want to fit into. Make a plan. Well, this week I'm going to do this exercise on this day. This is my meal plan. Do all of that and then get started. Day 1 could literally be go for a walk or go shopping for all the stuff that you need to make those meals that you've planned. Get started. Doesn't matter if you don't have the capital. It doesn't matter if you don't have the time. Make it. Okay, we don't manage time. No one can manage time. We all get the same amount. We all get 24 hours in a day. You manage your activities, and you'll be surprised how much time you can make up during a day by shifting a few activities around. Getting up 10 minutes earlier, not scrolling on social media, not watching more than one episode of whatever it is you're going to watch in the evening. You will be surprised where you can make time to fit in more activity. Okay, so visioneer, make a plan, get started, and just do it. You're going to make mistakes. You're a goal-seeking organism. You will make mistakes, but you learn more from a mistake than you will ever learn from waiting to get started. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Just check in Facebook. Any hands up? No, not at
Hope
the
you
moment.
covered it really good.
Thank you. I love compliments. I also love constructive criticism. So if there's anything I can ever do better, feel free to tell me. You are not allowed to tell me it was absolute tosh and I should stop doing what I'm doing. You can
I would
say,
never do that to you. You've helped me too much.
but you are more than welcome to, if it is pretty rubbish or whatever, but then tell me how to improve it. Okay? See the difference?
Uh-huh.
Okay, right. The last little bit that I want to go through is to introduce you. I should have changed the slides, but I was so adamant that I was going to get the 10 people online.
I know, sadly.
But hey, time difference and all the rest of it, it's all good. So I did have 3 people message me saying that something had come up. And then there's always X number of people that just forget, or something comes up, or it's life. It's okay. But I want to introduce you to the overall information for thinking into results. I am aware we have gone a little bit over, so I will keep this short and sweet. If you do want to know more information, all my contact details are available at the end of this workshop, and they'll also be on the email that you will receive as part of the recording, which should come out tomorrow, because it won't upload to YouTube tonight before I go to bed. But yeah, so I just want to introduce you to the information on thinking into results very briefly. So it's asking the questions of, do you have limiting beliefs? You have no goal and you're not taking action. All of these things, not good. Unhappy face. So what thinking into results does is it gets rid of those, and it helps you to manifest your desired outcomes through visualization, affirmations, and other mental techniques. So obviously we've gone through lesson 1. There are 11 more lessons on different topics. And what you get as part of thinking into results is 6 months coaching, which includes moi. And what we do is each week you do one lesson for 2 weeks. Okay, so lesson 1, you will watch and do the worksheets at least once a day for 2 weeks. During that 2-week time, we will have 2 60-minute sessions. These can go over or they can go under. It just depends on who's on and what people are coming up with, because I do them as very interactive as I possibly can. Okay, so week 1 will be a coaching session similar to what I've done today, where we will go through it with a little bit more detail, pick it apart, look at the themes, that sort of thing. And then in the second week, it's more of a Q&A. It's open for people to ask any questions that they have in a safe space. So all of my coaching programs, we support each other. I tend to nudge the conversation in certain ways, and I encourage people to be constructive, not just critical, and to support people as well. And being critical it's okay, because that's how we're brought up to be. We're told to judge, we're shown how to judge, we're told the negatives and all the rest of it, and we're sometimes encouraged to point them out in others as a nice thing to do so that they know. It's like when you point out whether someone's got something stuck in their teeth. Okay, but you can do it in a more constructive way, and that's where I nudge the people to say, well, okay, you think that, but what can they do differently? Give the advice. Okay, as I said, it is 12 powerful video lessons. It's a 195-page workbook, nearly 200. I was nearly right. You get an accountability partner, yours truly. And we also hold each other to account within the group as well. So anybody who wants to get in contact with other members of the coaching groups outside is entirely up to them. Okay, but it is mutual. If somebody doesn't want to, there's no need to at all. Okay, it's all based on over 100 years of research. The original stuff that it comes from is from this book, so Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, as well as all of the work that Earl Nightingale did, Ray Conant, Bob Proctor, obviously, because he made the program, and so many more. There's loads of goal setting exercises, and there's lots of tricks and tips to change your mindset and your habits. And these, oh, I didn't put it in. So there are 12 lessons, as I said. I thought I'd put the slide in, but I haven't. So, but they are topics such as worthy goal, so the worthy ideal, the knowing doing gap, which is, I think that one's my personal favorite, because it's the gap between what we know we should be doing and what we're actually doing. And that gap can be this big, or it can be ginormous. It's like if you've ever been in a company where you go to some training and everyone leaves going, yeah, that was amazing. We're going to make all these changes. We now know what we need to do differently. 2 weeks later, nothing's changed because they haven't changed the habit. They haven't made the changes that they need to make to implement those new learning. Okay. It also covers such things as the terror barrier. So that brick wall that you hit when you're trying to make a big decision, everything you want is on the other side and you just can't break through. So we cover how to do that. It covers as well as the magic word. So the magic word being attitude. Our attitude is made up of our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, and our actions. That creates our attitude. And it's our attitude that basically attracts like attitudes to us. So if we're really negative, we're going to attract negative. For example, my other half, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, hopefully you'll never know, he was quite negative today. Something set him off, and then every single driver on the road was a bit of a prat as far as he was concerned. And we went down to Paignton, and it just evolved. He just was just not in a good place today. And we get home and there's a nail in the tire of the van. So when you work on law of attraction and everything else, it's kind of well, you sort of attracted that. Obviously, I didn't tell him that because that's not a good idea. But when you start becoming aware, you'll be able to see that actually on a day when you're feeling really low, all of the bad just happens. You stub your toe, all the traffic lights turn red, you spill your soup, you get a nail in your tire, you get pooped on by a bird. Okay, you kind of attract it. And people do get offended when you point this out, but actually that's because they're like, well, no, that's rubbish. But when you think about it, it's actually got some merit to it. Okay, so that's something else that is covered within Thinking into Results. So like I said, there are 12 lessons. If you do want to know more, then please get in touch. I will send out my Calendly link, which will soon be changing to my own website scheduler. I have a new website being built. I'm building it, so it takes a little while longer. But I am more than happy to jump on any calls with anybody. I do offer a free 30-minute discovery call, which I know a couple of people on with me tonight have gone through. And it is literally, it's not a sales call or anything like that. It is finding out who you are, where you are, and where you want to go, and then giving you some ideas of how to get there. Okay, so today on our workshop, we have covered why we're here, who am I, what's motivation, how and where we find our motivation, and all those different tips and tricks that I covered as well. The worthy ideal, which also included lesson 1 of the Thinking into Results program, and then 3 steps to getting started towards your worthy goal. Okay, just realized that decisions wasn't on there, but it was on habits, and we have gone a little bit over, so I won't go too much into that. But basically, to be able to make decisions effectively and quickly based on the information you have right now, not what you might know in 5 minutes time, that's the best way to be. So be effective and decisive. You can always change a decision, but you never go back on the decision that you've made. You just make a new one. We then did the Q&A and I introduced you into Thinking into Results. So these are all my contact details. So I have my website, my email, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. I do have an account on TikTok and Twitter. I'm just not very active on there at the moment. And also my Calendly link at the bottom. As I said, all of these I will put into an email that will go out tomorrow with the replay to everyone who registered. And I'll also pop these links below this video in the Facebook group and the description on YouTube. So does anybody have anything they want to share, ask questions, or anything they want to say before we end our session this evening?
No, besides thank you, nothing else.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you, Jay.
Thank
Can
you.
you? Yeah, it's you. Thank you. It's really
It's been
wonderful.
very, very
Yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Can-
That is
can
that is
I-
all I want. That I can help people to be the best that they can be. So on that note then, there's nothing come through on the Facebook chat either. I will wish you a very pleasant rest of your day, and I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon. As I said, if you do want more information, please feel free to get in touch, whether you are on live or whether you are on the recording. So have a pleasant rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you again shortly. Have a good rest of your day.
Cheers.
Thank
Good
you,
evening,
Jay.
Cynthia.
Thank you too. Bye bye, Brandy.
Bye.
Cheers, Jay.
Thank you.